It is Monday, so it must be time to embrace debate. Welcome to the Keep Pounding Podcast Network, hosted by the Fans First Sports Network. You can catch us here on every major podcast platform, and of course the video on youtube.com at Tobacco Road Sports Radio. I'm your host, Desmond Johnson, joined every Monday morning at 10:30 live with two guys you're probably familiar with if you follow them on Twitter, and if you're huge Carolina Panthers fans. From the four-man rush, we got Monti in the house, and from the Carolina Cat Chronicles, we got Cody in the house, and they're here to debate every single Monday morning. We're here for you. We know that a lot of you guys follow them on Twitter and watch these debates go back and forth as they not just against each other, but they're taking on all bums. Anybody who wants to come and throw a take in there, they will answer it. So definitely go follow them. They're
all the smoke.
All the smoke. They want all the smoke. We're going to get right into it. It's a quick, compact, about 30 minutes or so every Monday morning. You can listen to it throughout the day. Again, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, all the major podcast platforms. You'll be able to get the audio version of this on the Keep Pounding Podcast Network a little bit later on today. Make sure you rate and subscribe that. Guys, we do got some folks rolling in as we're getting ready to go. Rhea, letting us roll. And Jaisu, I don't know if I pronounced that right or not. I'm here. She's here for it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get popping into some of these questions that I pulled out for you guys for this week. I wanted a little bit more spice this week. I wanted us to, because I felt like there was too much kumbaya last week. We were pretty much agreeing on everything. The drafts in like less than 20 days. So we got some things we got to tackle. So one of the things that's been going on, and one of the things I noticed, one of the ways to get these questions is just to follow your Twitter handles throughout the week pretty much and just kind of see what people are throwing at y'all. And one of the things that keeps popping up is the idea of the Panthers basically trading down to number 2 with the Houston Texans. There's a lot of balls in the air in terms of why that would happen, why it shouldn't happen. And let's get your guys' opinions on this. So should Carolina consider a trade down with number 2 Houston as it stands today? Monty, let's start off with you.
I'm a hard no. I'm a hard no with trading down with Houston for multiple different reasons. The biggest reason for me, I have multiple different reasons, but for me, you don't trade DJ Moore. And essentially you lost your 2 best players offensively last year.
Hold on, Monty. I'm sorry. I gotta. Before we go any further, I gotta correct this. The guy Jay that I was trying to come on the show.
Yeah, man. I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, that's my dog Jay, man.
I can't see his picture on my monitor. It's like real dark, and it looked like it was long hair. So I just guessed. My bad, Jay. I did not mean to slander your name. You are not female. The name the name's running. It's running together. What is it? Jay? I don't even know how to pronounce it. So Jay, my bad. Monty, I'm
Jay
sorry.
Issue. That's the homie, man.
Hey, it's love, Jay. It's love.
Sorry, Jay. I'm sorry, man. My bad. Go ahead, Monty.
I'm a firm knowing that. I think you lost your 2 best offensive players last year in Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore. And essentially we packaged the pick from that Christian McCaffrey trade, and we packaged DJ Moore up to go get a quarterback. I don't think you do that just to trade, to play chicken with Houston and trade back a spot, and I don't think Houston's going to pay the cost to get up to number 1. I think they do. I think there's real smoke that they love, Bryce Young. We love Bryce Young as well from everything that seems to be coming out over the last couple of weeks. I just don't think it is the best move to move back. We control the draft. Go get your guy and let Houston figure it out. That's how I kind of feel.
Cody, your thoughts on this? Should the Carolina Panthers even entertain the notion of trading down to number 2 with the Houston Texans?
Well, we're off to a good start because me and Monty already disagree on this, man. Absolutely, they should. Why not? Listen, all the rumors are the Houston Texans only want 1 quarterback. They want Bryce Young. And if they're willing to give us a first-round pick next year or this year, we would be absolutely dumb to not consider that, man. Not only could you recoup some draft capital, but listen, I know for a fact that there are people in that building that love CJ Stroud. And I know a lot of people are on the Bryce train right now, but I do not see that much of a difference between either of them. You can make the case for either of them. So why would you not continue to build your organization for the future, recoup your first round pick, get another receiver, or if you're picking at number 12, get another top end defensive player? To me, I mean, if you're not in a position to finesse the Texans with Scott Fitterer, who is famous for wanting to trade down and acquire more picks in the draft, I think it would be dumb to not consider that at least as an option. And yeah, I would do that in a heartbeat, man. And also, the Texans, they have multiple first round picks over the next 3 years. So they're not even hurting for it. I believe that we should.
I guess it comes down to two things. How badly does Houston want Bryce Young, and how badly do we want Bryce Young? Because if we want Bryce, it doesn't make any sense to trade down in the first place.
Right.
Like, I agree with Monty in terms of and maybe start next week. Maybe we start some kind of point system so we can kind of figure out like who wins these by the end of each episode. But I kind of agree with Monty a little bit in terms of why go through the trouble of trading all the way up to 1 just to kind of sit there and then eventually drop down a spot so you don't get the quarterback you may or may not want per se. I have to assume that they traded up to 1 with the idea that they were going to get Bryce Young. Like they went up for a specific name, but they were like, we're open to be, have our mind changed, like because we'll run the board at that point. So we'll do our due diligence. We'll, see Anthony Richardson. We'll see Will Levis. We'll see C.J. Stroud. If any of them pop more than what we've already saw on film, then maybe we'll consider it. But they've been very adamant that the combine, the dinners, the interviews, none of that weighs as much as the actual film. And if we're going off of just film over the past 2 years, it's Bryce Young. Like it has to be him. He has to be the reason why they moved up to 1. Otherwise, they could just trade it with the Texans for the number 2 pick to begin with and got CJ Stroud, right? Like, why give up DJ Moore? That's basically why I'm like, I don't know why they would do that if they gave up more to get up to 1 just to fall back to 2.
And you package your, part of that draft with Christian McCaffrey was to get up to, number 1 for the quarterback. I just don't think it makes the most sense. I get, Cody, I get what you're saying about the draft capital. At this point, I think, there's real smoke behind us really, liking Bryce Young. And I don't believe that it makes them, even if Houston is willing to come up with those picks. And I just don't believe that's the case. I think you got to go get your number 1 guy. And I think Bryce Young has been the quarterback 1 all year. I think the further and further we get away from games, the further and further we make new narratives why he's not quarterback 1. But, when you cut on the film over the last 2 years, he's been the best quarterback, in my opinion, in college football. I feel like you just got to go get your guy.
Let me ask you this, Cody, real quick, though. What if they offered a first, but it's not this year? What if they offered like a 2024 first? Are you still taking that?
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I mean, we gave up a first-round pick to move up to number 1, and a lot of people are like, well, you gave up DJ Moore, so why would you go up for just C.J. Stroud or Anthony Richardson if they didn't have the best film? Listen, man, sometimes the quarterback with the best film in college football does not then equal the best quarterback in the NFL. I think Justin Herbert was better than Tua Tagovailoa. I think Josh Allen was better than Baker Mayfield. And I think that you can make a similar argument with Anthony Richardson as well. And if you're able to recoup some of those picks, and last but not least, I do not believe that the Houston Texans are going to come away from this draft without a quarterback. That is absurd to me. And if you only like 1 and you believe Bryce to be a franchise quarterback, why wouldn't you give a first-round pick to go up 1 spot, especially when you already have a ton of first-round picks from the Deshaun trade to the Cleveland Browns? So to me, it just makes sense.
And then also, I see both sides here. I'm just trying to look at it from the Carolina viewpoint in terms of why would they move down? Like, unless they soured off of Bryce. That's the only way I could really kind of justify it, because then they could play with the board. Be like, okay, well, we like these other 2 quarterbacks too. Where can we move and still get one of those guys? But if they like Bryce, they want to be guaranteed they get him. I just don't see them trading off this pick. I think including DJ in the trade is what's making it where it's kind of hard for me to swallow, because it's if DJ Moore wasn't in that trade, then I could be like, okay, maybe they recoup one of those picks, that kind of thing.
I love DJ
Moore back,
I love DJ Moore, but receivers are replaceable, man. The Pittsburgh Steelers draft them in the 2nd and 3rd round all the time, and they go on to be superstars. I believe this is David Tepper giving his brand new, very expensive coaching staff carte blanche to go get the best quarterback in the draft, whoever they feel that is.
Ooh, this is
But let me say this: even in your Herbert better than Tua situation, Herbert wasn't quarterback one in that year, that class though. Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow was.
So even by using that argument, if we're going to buy the best clear-cut number one quarterback, it was Joe Burrow. And I think the closer we get to the draft, we're starting to see Bryce is the clear-cut number one. And
I was gonna say in that draft, by the time we got to the draft, we kind of all knew Joe Burrow was going number
absolutely.
one. He just thrown 60 touchdowns. Like we knew it was going to be him. And then there was a tier right below him with like Tua, Herbert, and Jalen Hurts was in that draft. That was a loaded quarterback.
Yeah,
actually,
it was. Then. But that's why I compared Herbert to Tua, because playing in Alabama, Tua had so much better numbers, better completion percentage, better touchdown against better competition. And Justin Herbert was in a rudimentary offense over there at Oregon. But I'm telling you right now, there is not a general manager in the NFL that would pick Tua Tagovailoa over Justin Herbert right now. So
and Tua's kind of small in stature too. Not as small as Bryce Young at all, but he's still one of those smaller, compact type quarterbacks. So off to a good start here. Lots of people coming in. If you got a comment or a take on anything that the guys are talking about, let us know. If you've got a question for them you want them to debate, put it up here in the comment section on Facebook Watch or on the YouTube video. We'll get to it hopefully before we get off the air this morning. Number 2 this morning. The signing of former Panther Damiere Byrd to the wide receiver room this past week. Does the signing of Damiere Byrd change the need for wide receivers in the 2023 NFL draft for the Panthers? Because I think a lot of us were looking at that pick 39 as a pick where they could go after a top-tier wide receiver possibly. With Byrd coming in to a room that has Adam Thielen in it, Terrence Marshall Jr. is in there. I think Shi Smith still signed with us. I mean, the room's getting pretty full, but there's no real, like, top dog, like number one in there, I guess you could say. Does that mean that they're cool at wide receiver at this point, or you think they're still going to go wide receiver hunting? Cody, let's start off with you on this one.
Yeah, I think they're cool at wide receiver. I mean, listen, you said that there's no real number one amongst all the guys that we have, but there's not that guy in the draft either. Like, I mean, Zay Flowers is my guy. I would love it if we could pick up Zay Flowers. But listen, when you factor in Terrence Marshall Jr., Chark, Adam Thielen, now Damiere Byrd, like we have put ourselves up where we're going to be able to spread the ball around to a bunch of different guys. I really don't even feel like we need that true number one wide receiver. If they did, they should have went out and got a DeAndre Hopkins or an Odell Beckham Jr. The fact that they didn't means now we're in a position to go best player available. And if you're sitting there at 39 and you don't try and fill some of the holes that you have on your defensive line, in terms for another receiver, like just to get a Tank Dell or whoever ends up falling, that's another point too. Apparently the rumor is most of the NFL general managers are very low on this year's wide receiver class. So to me, it would probably be an overdraft anyway. We have to fill out some other holes on this team. Receivers should not be in play at 39.
Monty, we still looking for a wide receiver in this draft, or with Byrd coming in, do you feel pretty okay with the wide receiver room in Charlotte right now?
I think you always add weapons. I think you can never have enough weapons. At 39, I think I've been kind of clear about I don't know if I want to go a receiver at 39 unless somebody like Zay Flowers falls. If he falls to 39, I'm running to the podium for Zay Flowers. I think he is the wide receiver one in this class. I think that he has potential to be a wide receiver one in the league. But now for this, I do agree. At 39 with Cody, I don't think you go receiver. I do think you still have to add another receiver. Can never have too many weapons, especially when adding a rookie quarterback into the mix. You always want to give him, I feel like a loaded deck of weapons, as many weapons as you potentially can. And not only that, injuries happen. Injuries are a real part of the the game. DJ Chark is coming off injuries. Adam Thielen is he's on the better side of 30 now, so I feel like, even with Terrence Marshall Jr., we're hoping that he makes that next step. But
he's the wily veteran that's in the room, I guess.
Yeah, right. And then Terrence Marshall Jr., we're hoping he makes that next step, but that has yet to be seen. So I think you still have to add another weapon. I think in the third round, I think there's potentially a guy. I like Marvin Mims. I've been very clear about liking Tank Dell as well. if you can get one of those guys in the third, I believe that's also something that you have to add. But I also think, fellas, that we're getting away from. I believe tight end is still a realistic option at 39 as well. I think if Darnell Washington is there at 39, I would not be shocked at all, if he was the pick. I think tight end is a very realistic option at 39.
Tank Dell, was that the guy that Steve Smith was talking about a couple weeks ago on his podcast?
Yeah, Tank Dell he played.
He's talked about a lot of them now. He played at Houston.
Yeah.
But he's a matter of fact, over the last 2 seasons, I think he's led the FBS in receiving yards and receiving touchdowns. So he's a dog, man. I would take that's another one in the third round. If he's there, I'm running to the podium for it.
Go ahead.
The last thing I'll say, Desmond, my opinion goes out the window if Zay Flowers is sitting there at 39. I'm telling y'all, that man is Steve Smith Jr. Okay, look, that dude can do everything. I don't care about him being 5'9". His route running is exceptional, man. He's going to be dicing up defenders in the NFL. If Zay Flowers is there, oh yeah, sprint to the podium.
5'9" wide receiver doesn't bother me at all. 5'9" quarterback does a little bit, but 5'9" wide receiver, not so much. I'm just from watching Steve Smith basically hurdle dudes for like a decade. Like it's all about who wants it more at that position. You know what I mean?
And he separates on his own.
Yeah.
Even if you try and press him, he's still going to run away from you. He's still going to make separation and make space.
Now, I do like there are 2 wide receivers. If they're sitting there and 39 comes up, Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee, I like him, and Josh Downs from North Carolina, although I expect both of them will probably be gone off the board by the time we get to 39, which makes me wonder, do the Panthers trade up to land one of those wide receivers for this rookie quarterback to grow together? It makes sense to have it, and they've got the coaching staff to actually make it happen. Speaking of that coaching staff, good segue there. Which coach on the Panthers offensive coaching staff is the most important when grooming a rookie quarterback going forward? And you've got a number of names to choose from this Avengers-like coaching staff that Frank Wright and company put together. Monty, let's start with you. Who's the one coach that comes to mind on the offensive side of things for the Panthers is going to be the most important when grooming a C.J. Stroud or a Bryce Young or Anthony Richardson?
That's a loaded question, man. Like you said, there's quite a few names to pick from. I think there's you just pick a name, pick a name out of the hat, and I feel like that's a good option. I'm going to say the quarterback coach. Josh McCown. I think Josh McCown, he's a seasoned veteran, at that position. He's played the position before. I think that he knows what he's wanting in a quarterback. I think he knows what he's looking for. And I believe that relationship, I think that can't be overstated how important that relationship with the quarterback and his quarterback coach is, man. I think, Ken Dorsey doesn't get enough credit, when he was with Cam, then, he goes with Josh Allen, and Josh Allen also takes another step. I'm not saying it's all Ken Dorsey, but, I feel like he doesn't get enough credit for being that quarterback coach there.
Yeah.
I think Josh McCown could, we could have that same impact with Bryce or CJ. He spoke highly of both of them, and I believe that, he would be excited to get his hands on either one of them, so that's I probably would lean more Josh McCown than anything.
Cody, out of the offensive staff that's been added to the Panthers this offseason, who's the one name that comes to mind first when it comes to draft? Actually, let me rephrase this. Drafting a rookie quarterback number 1 overall, which offensive staff member makes you the most comfortable doing that?
It's got to be Thomas Brown, the guy that's quite literally designing the playbook for the Carolina Panthers. And listen, we all know that Sean McVay is one of the premier offensive-minded coaches in the NFL. He won 2 Super Bowls, won a Super Bowl, went to another one. They've been a perennial playoff contender. And Sean McVay did not want to lose Thomas Brown off of that staff. But we were going to pay him more. It was a promotion. So Thomas Brown is a Carolina Panther now, and I think that matters. Thomas Brown, we've talked about the differences between Bryce and C.J. Stroud. You're going to have to bend your offense around what these players do well. And I feel like Thomas Brown knows that. And putting that young quarterback, especially a rookie quarterback, in a position to be successful, that's going to be the most pivotal thing for the Carolina Panthers. That begins and ends with Thomas Brown. To me, Brown's the guy. He's going to be the determining factor on how good our quarterback is this season.
The thing mentioned Thomas Brown, I didn't think about it until really in hindsight. when they were doing the combine coverage, and they were talking about the large contingent of Panthers coaches that went down there, and they would name off Frank Wright, they'd name off David Tepper, they'd name off Nicole Tepper, and all these people. They never mentioned Thomas Brown. Like, they never mentioned that Thomas Brown was there, even though he was there, and he's the offensive coordinator. They would mention Josh McCown before they mentioned Thomas Brown. Something about that always bothered me. And I'm hoping he gets an opportunity this season to really show that he can shine on his own. I think there's 3 or 4 future head coaches on his staff, which is nuts.
Yeah.
Like, when you sit back and just look at it, like, McCown's probably going to be one. Brown's going to probably be one. Ijiro's probably going to be one.
Yeah.
I'm probably forgetting 2 or 3. Deuce is probably going to be one. I mean, there's a picture a long time ago of like the I think it was like the 1995 Green Bay Packers, the ones that won the Super Bowl, and it's like the group photo, like them sitting in the bleachers, the whole team or whatever, and the coaching staff. And if you go through the coaching staff, there's like 9 dudes that end up becoming head coaches like over the next like 8 years or something. I feel like we're going to do that with this team. We're going to look at the picture and go, oh, remember when Ijiro was the defensive coordinator and we had Thomas Brown on the other side and we did all this and that, and we were arguing.
Those were the days.
Yeah, remember all that before we won that ring?
I'm hoping that that's off the wake of a Super Bowl. Right?
Yeah, I know. Right?
Remember they took us to the Super Bowl and
and we lost all of them. Like, they all disappeared. They're all like 35 years old. Let's see what next one in here that we got for this morning. Thanks to everybody that's checking in with us. Word kind of got out last week about the show. And people are starting to stop by. I appreciate everybody that's coming through this morning as we get you ready for your weekday and your upcoming week here on Embrace Debate. Which will be a bigger threat in the Panthers offense out of the new free agent pickups that they brought in? Tight end Hayden Hurst or running back Miles Sanders? Cody, let's start off with you.
I'm going Hayden Hurst, man. What are we talking about? The Carolina Panthers have not had a top flight receiving tight end since Greg Olsen. You can literally make the case that it has been the missing ingredient in our offense. I mean, keep in mind, Hayden Hurst had 400-something yards, almost 500 yards on a team that had Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. Okay, that guy is he's a reception waiting to happen. And look, man, he's a South Carolina guy, and I'm a Clemson fan. So when I'm willing to put my biases aside to hype up a Gamecock, come on, bro. You know he's the real deal. Give me a break. Hayden Hurst is the man. We need that pass-catching tight end badly. And if it's Bryce or CJ, nothing is more of a security blanket for your young quarterback than a bad tight end that can do it all. I'm going Hayden Hurst.
Monty?
I'm gonna raise you and go Miles Sanders, man. I look, and for the record, I don't disagree with a lot of what you said there, Cody. So I mean, I as civil as we're keeping it, I don't really disagree with you.
Quite civil.
Right. That being said, I think the 3 biggest things you give a rookie quarterback is a defense, offensive line, a run game, and then tight end. And I feel like those are the 4, and we've checked all 4 boxes. Tight end would be the bottom of that list, in my opinion. I feel like you got to give your rookie, your rookie quarterback a run game, a solid run game. Miles Sanders proved last year, he's a top 10 running back, when healthy behind a decent offensive line. I believe we have a good enough offensive line for him to kind of repeat or, have a similar year that he had last season. I'm not going to expect him to have that type of season last year for this season, but I believe that he has that potential in him. And yeah, man, I believe that Miles Sanders is still young. He chose and wanted to be here. So, I feel like we're going to get the best out of Miles Sanders this year as well. I think that ties with Deuce is very real. So, yeah, man, I think Hayden Hurst is a great addition as well. I think Miles Sanders will just offers a little bit more offensively. I believe he's a very underrated pass catcher outside of the backfield, fast. And, I think he's a very underrated three down back. And, I can't overstate that's very important when adding a rookie quarterback to the mix. We got the offensive line. Yeah, I'm all in on Miles, man.
Yeah, I can see both because both are basically like safety valves for the quarterback,
right,
check down, that kind of thing. So either one could be interchangeable, I guess, there. I'm intrigued to see Sanders behind this offensive line because I don't think it's too much of a drop-off from where he came from in Philly. No. In fact, some aspects of it might be stronger. I really feel like our offensive line is going to be a top 5 unit at the end of this year. Once we're healthy and back that cohesive unit from last year, I think they'll be just fine, which is why I'm not so worried about who they pick at quarterback anymore, although I'm on the Bryce Young train. I've been there for the past probably going about 10 days now, and I'm pretty comfortable with it. Like, and now I know, because we're about a couple weeks out, and if I'm sitting there and I'm thinking that right now on the 17th, I'm probably gonna be thinking it next week too. So unless something wild happens, which I have no idea what that could even be, but unless something crazy happens, I'm sticking with the Bryce Young thing. And yeah, I could see the debate for both of those. This is a pass happy league though. So Hurst, Sanders catches a lot out of the backfield too. So
but you can also put Hayden on the line of scrimmage, and he's going to be pass protecting too. He does a little bit of everything to make your rookie quarterback's life a little bit easier.
What do you guys think about Tommy Tremble?
You know what? I'll be honest, Des. I have never been a big Tommy Tremble fan. You know, even when we drafted him, you know, I thought he would. I think he's better as a fullback than tight end. You know, that's another reason why I also believe that, you know, tight end is a real option at 39. You know, because if you can add somebody like a Darnell Washington, you know, and pair him with Hayden Hurst, I think, you know, you're cooking with something there, man. Tommy Tremble he doesn't do it for me. You know, I feel like he does have the athleticism and you know, the potential to be, you know, to be a better tight end than what he's shown on the field. But and again, I don't want to rag on him because he had to go through Matt Rule 2 years.
Yeah, he was a Matt Rule selection.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like,
so Cody, before you kill me, man, I get it, brother. I don't know, man.
Like they're never gonna get better as players unless they see the football field. Like, they have to get the reps in order to get better as our young players. Bradley Bozeman was sitting the dude. So you have to give these guys time to perform. He's incredibly tough on the line of scrimmage. And I do think that he can be a better pass catcher, even though it's something that he wasn't asked to do a lot here. He wasn't asked to do a lot at Notre Dame. I tell you what, I'm more excited about the upside of Tommy Tremble than I am Ian Thomas, who's been here, a decade now and still hasn't really done anything. Like,
he got an extension.
Come on, man.
I don't even know
how he got paid. I have no clue, dude.
Bro, he knows some voodoo or something, man.
Came in the office and they're like, "Who are you again?" Oh, you're still here.
Yeah, I remember you.
Throw a bag at him. He's good. Yeah, Matt Rule, man. We're gonna look back at this Matt Rule era. Actually, I don't even think this is a debate. Is the Matt Rule era the worst era in the history of Carolina Panther football?
By far.
He's such a clown, dude. He's such
I'm just trying to think
of oil salesman.
Like even with like George Seifert, there was a bright spot someplace.
Even as a brand new franchise, we were a hell of a lot more competitive, you know, than we ever were.
Dom Capers had us in the
playoffs.
The not just the playoffs, the division championship round against Green Bay in 2 years.
We had some diehard Panther fans that would refuse to watch on Sunday because they already knew the outcome, and they were not wrong. They were not wrong.
Honestly, I was starting to. You know how hard it is to have to watch. Well, how hard it was to have to watch this team.
Yes.
Well, of course you guys know, because you had to do a podcast on this every week, and
right,
doing the same show. It's like, okay, Matt Rule, this is how he messed up this week. This is literally what happened last week, but it's the same thing.
You knew it was real when fans just stopped going to the games, you know, and that's really what, you know, this last year, I have never seen, you know, a full red out game when you know, what was it?
I was just about to say,
dude, I've never seen the Bank of America Stadium look like that. It was like,
Skyler mentioned that. Skyler, my co-host on Believe in Panthers, the beat writer for the Panthers for Sports Illustrated, he messaged us from the stadium like right around 12:30 before kickoff, and he sent me and Jonathan Stewart a snapshot of inside. He was like, "Dude, it is blood red in here."
Yeah,
I've
never seen it like that.
And then on TV, it looked worse. Like, it looked like we were in San Francisco, and we were all talking. We're like, "This is probably Matt Rule's last game." Like,
and you know what? I'm glad you said that, because that felt like the very moment that David Tepper said, "All right, man, this clearly is not it," you know.
Oh God! And just now that it's over, and just man, just 3 years, it's just gone. Like, it's just ridiculous. But we're in a better spot now. 10 seconds left. Panthers down by 4. You need a touchdown to win. I switched this up a little bit from the question we did on Sunday because I thought it might be a little too easy. You need 20 yards to score. Who do you trust to score? Cam Newton to Ted Ginn Jr. or Sam Darnold to Steve Smith? There's a whole lot of stuff going on here in this question. Like, it's got to be a pass. It can't be Cam just trucking somebody and getting in the end zone. Like, he's got to complete this. Who do you? And he's throwing it to Ted Ginn. So who do you?
I thought it was going to be KB. I thought it was Kevin.
I thought about it. I was like, nah, that sounds too easy because
man.
KB he was actually pretty good at red zone.
Yeah, he was a 50-50. He was a 50-50 ball catcher.
But Ted Ginn, you're taking your chances now. Like he might catch the 80-yard pass. He might drop that 10-foot drop. You don't know. So are you going Cam Newton to Ted Ginn for the score, or are you going Sam Darnold to Steve Smith for the score? And again, this is so loaded because it's like you can't do it based off of just one of those players in the scenario. You got to seriously think about the other side. Like, can Sam deliver that ball to a point where Steve can actually go get it? Can Ted Ginn grab the ball that Cam Newton's going to rifle in there at 100 miles an hour? Like, I painted the picture.
I'm going Cam Ginn because we've seen it. We've at least seen some, we've seen Ted Ginn be a decent receiver. We've seen Cam Newton at his height, at the height of his career, be the best quarterback in football. We've never seen Sam Darnold be even half decent quarterback over a season or over a long period of time. Maybe 4 games here or there. We've never seen Sam Darnold, and I just don't trust Sam Darnold. I don't trust Sam Darnold to throw a bag of chips across the room. So to get me 20 yards as a Steve Smith, I don't do it, man. I'm going Cam Newton with all the drops and everything. I'm going.
Bro, people really make fun of Sam. Like, Sam did not play the best football of his entire career down the stretch for the Carolina Panthers, man. Dude, he had some incredible passes to DJ Moore at the end of last season, putting the ball right where it needed to be. Listen, when I thought this. I know, man. Look, when I thought this was Kelvin Benjamin, it made it even easier. I'm a big fan of Ted Ginn Jr., but I'm still going Sam and Steve Smith for this, just because Steve Smith in the end zone, bro, it's a guarantee. It's an absolute guarantee.
It's got to be catchable. Somebody mentioned Sam ain't even gonna get the pass off. That was Chunk. Sam ain't
that's not real. That's not real, man.
I don't trust Sam to throw me my keys across the room, brother. Nonetheless,
bro,
just stand there.
Dude, I'm just saying, y'all not ready for this Sam Darnold restoration tour that's about to happen in San Francisco, bro.
Hey,
put him on the
he's
best.
Probably going to get a shot to play because
he's a 5-year veteran now.
Yeah, so y'all think Sam Darnold's better than Brock Purdy?
Yeah. Bro, we saw 5 games of Brock Purdy, and everybody's trying to anoint this dude.
5 games with Sam Darnold.
And he's kind of using the same type of. I mean, he's got Christian McCaffrey behind him in both situations, so it's almost like is CMC kind of hiding the flaws of both.
That may be true. That may be true. Now, realistically speaking, Purdy's coming off of the Tommy John surgery. I don't think he's going to. I don't think Brock Purdy is going to be the same quarterback. We saw how Jake's career damn near ended after that surgery. So that's a tough injury to come back from everything I've read. So I'm praying for Brock Purdy, but I would hate to be a San Francisco fan right now with the quarterback room they have. That's all I'm saying.
Bro, Sam's gonna be all right. Y'all not ready for this restoration project.
Sam Darnold tour.
NFL's gonna have to behold, man. It's not a coincidence you put him on the Panthers last year with Steve Wilkes. We had the good O-line. We had DJ Moore. Now you're gonna put him on one of the best offensive rosters in the NFL, and now he's gonna be the one to mess it up. Nah, man, Sam's about to do something. Y'all not ready for it.
I'm seeing some comments come across. We're live right now. I don't know if this just dropped or not, but Jalen Hurts, did he just sign a contract? You got 255, 180 guarantee. Is that right?
Let me let's
check Twitter.
Hold on a second now, because if that's the case, Lamar Jackson is probably spray painting the side of.
He is. Yeah. Hey, that
right
is real.
now. It's like,
that
yo,
is real. Yep,
that's real.
5-year deal, $255 million. That's real.
It makes that extension makes him the highest paid player in NFL history.
Yes, it does.
What is that per year? Like 50 something? 55?
Yeah, that's got to be at least 51, 52 per year, man.
Lamar Jackson is about to set fire to 179.30 million of that is guaranteed,
and there's a no trade clause.
Wow. 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 That's how you start off a Monday, Jalen Hurts.
I'm telling
your
you,
money. 179 guaranteed. Look, I'm changing up the end of this. It's not even Panther related, but we got to talk about our boy. If you're Lamar Jackson, what do you do at this point? Like right now, like
immediately,
I'm out. I'm gone. Odell Beckham Jr. What do you do if you're him and you wake up this morning and you see that and you're like, oh no, oh no.
What is the? I just don't understand. I get the injury part of it. I get I don't get the money part of it. I can't sit there and say I get the money part of not paying Lamar. He's only 26, former MVP.
Yeah,
healthy, top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
I don't even think he's lost double-digit games like in his career.
It's frustrating now. Jalen Hurts deserves a contract extension. Let's not act like he doesn't deserve this. It's less to do about Jalen Hurts, more to do about the NFL has to do something about this is just Lamar Jackson situation. It is ridiculous to see.
What can they do? Like that's the thing. Like what's the number now? Like what's the Jalen Hurts just got? If they wait longer, it's gonna get worse because Joe Burrow's coming up.
Right, yeah, Herbert's coming up. But was that amount of guarantees more than what Deshaun got from the Browns? Because my understanding,
Deshaun's is guaranteed.
Yeah. So okay, listen. There's no reason why Lamar can't have a contract on this. He's gonna have to concede a little bit on the guaranteed aspect. Mm-hmm. There's no reason, in my opinion, why Lamar couldn't get a contract very similar to Jalen Hurts. The problem is are the Ravens going to be the one to do it? If he's not willing to come down on the guaranteed, then I don't know, man. This might continue to be something that we're talking about for a long time.
But if you're Lamar Jackson, should you come down? Do you feel like you should come down?
See, that's the problem. You've waited out this long, and now it's like it's almost going to look like you're giving in. Like, which you might have to do, but
it sucks,
you don't want to. And then you got to go back in that locker room. You know what I mean? Like these players have been sticking up for you. You're representing them, and then for them, if they see that he took less than what Jalen Hurts just got, and Jalen Hurts has had one good year. I've had a good year every year.
Yeah, but he went to a Super Bowl, though. Like, listen, I'm not trying to take no shots at Lamar, but you can make legit questions about his history in the playoffs. He has been hurt a lot. He doesn't have great numbers in the playoffs, man. And I think that matters. People want to pretend like it doesn't matter. I promise you it does. If he had gone to an AFC championship game, the Ravens would have already paid him by now. But
does it matter enough? But he puts people in seats. That's money. You know, I mean, that's something too that people don't talk about. Like they're not coming to Baltimore to watch I can't even name
Mark Andrews. Yeah. No doubt.
Lamar Jackson with? That's the real question. Who do you bring into that room to replace Lamar Jackson with? And
are they still selling out with Tyler Huntley at quarterback?
Right.
That kind of thing. Yes. Like, I mean, they can kind of run the same offense, but it's not the same. And it's not Lamar back there. I mean, the whole team is built around Lamar. So if anything, we should get more just for that sole purpose. Like they can't do anything without him, really.
Do you think that, with Odell Beckham signing, OBJ thought, okay, there's a deal incoming for Lamar Jackson? Because why do you even sign with the Ravens if you're not going to have Lamar throwing you the football?
Yeah.
That's true.
I've had friends that are Ravens fans that were on my in my text messages going all crazy because they thought it meant for sure that he was going to play because there was pictures of them in the club the night before and all this other stuff. I'm like, sorry, they're just young folks with money. Like they ain't got to be saying that they're going to, you know what I mean? Like that don't mean anything. Like they just know each other and they got money. They went out to the club together in Miami. I mean, they just went out. But then Odell actually made it a little bit murkier last week where he was saying, he knows that it's not him signing is not a guarantee Lamar's going to be there, but he feels pretty confident. They're all saying the right things. Odell didn't sign there because of Lamar Jackson, in my opinion. He signed there because they gave him $15 million. And he's coming off of a year with a leg injury where he's not even going to be 100% next year. Yeah. He's going to get $15 million, and then he can go wherever he wants after that. Yeah, I'll go there.
I believe Odell realized the market for him isn't as big as he thought it was initially was going to be as well.
Right.
I think that he sees that there aren't many teams that's going to pay you $15 million, that he initially thought. So yeah, I believe that wasn't fully because of Lamar Jackson. But I do, I do want to see Lamar Jackson back in Baltimore. I'll be honest with you. I feel like that's, he's built something, in Baltimore. I think he might be done with, it's kind of disrespectful that hasn't got paid yet. But, I feel like, they have pieces there in Baltimore. It's been a murky situation this whole time, man.
Twan Nunn from the 704 Charlotte Bound Show checking in with us. They're just now on the Keep Pounding Podcast Network as well. You can go catch his interview with Bradley Bozeman from last week. It's on the network. Just go to Spotify or Google or wherever and search. You'll be able to find it there. Before we get out of here, though, real quick from the gallery, Alexander Blonde says Cam going to be a Raven. Watch. The thoughts on Cam Newton possibly ending up in Baltimore when all this is said and done, or do you think Cam is done? I think Cam is done. To be honest,
bro, it makes me sad.
Yeah,
it makes me sad watching my hero having to now he's more famous for his beef with Shannon Sharp than he is playing football. Man, it's
the fonts that he uses on social media, or
man, it's
Pro Day. Yeah, like come on, man, like this is if Carolina hadn't brought him back 2 years ago, we'd be talking about a guy that hadn't played in 3 years,
Yeah.
And even then, when he came back, he didn't really play when he was in Carolina, which made me think that Matt Rule did not want him back to begin with. That was a Dave Tepper move to try to salvage the season.
100%.
And it just didn't work out because Rule didn't play him. So he just needs to retire. I think it's time. Gerald McCoy retired earlier last week. Cam, it's fine. You got plenty of other things going on. I'd like to see the next chapter and like what you're doing, like getting into maybe ownership or.
You don't talk about it enough. I think he would be an amazing quarterback coach.
I think so too. Actually, I do too.
He would be an amazing quarterback coach, especially for this new era of players and and quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. They all gravitate to Cam. They all look at him like that big brother kind of feel. I think he would be an amazing quarterback coach.
Look at how many players have come to his 7-on-7.
Right.
I mean, Deshaun Watson, Justin Fields. I mean, so many guys have been a part of that. I think he really does have a gift to be able to speak to these young guys and help them in their career. Yeah, I think that would be great. I'm just tired of seeing things like they are, man. It feels like like he's begging for a job that no one's willing to give him.
You don't need to do that, Cam.
It's not a good look, man.
I'll play in the XFL or something if you really want to play, but if it's like to prove some point at this point, it's got lost in the wash. Good and Faithful Podcast says, "What's up with the news that AR bought a condo in Charlotte?" I saw that on Twitter too. I don't really know.
I think that was confirmed. That was fake. I
don't think that makes any sense for him to do that 2 weeks before the draft. Like they wouldn't have even told him that he's the number one pick. So, I don't think that's going to be. And then actually, we're going to save this one maybe for next week from Chunk. If Cam retires now, he won't make the Hall of Fame.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're going to save that one for next week. Is Cam Newton a Hall of Famer if he retired?
I mean, would he make the Hall of Fame if he was able to play? I don't know, man. That's
I mean, more like if he didn't play another down just off of what he's done already in his career, is he a Hall of Famer? And I've had this conversation before with people. I'll save my retorts for that next week. We'll do that one next week for sure. Is Cam Newton a Hall of Famer? We've run a little bit over. I know Monti's got to get out of here. Cody got things to do. I got to get out of here too. Appreciate everybody coming in and checking us out this morning as the show gets bigger and bigger as we come on each week. We're on 10:30 a.m. live every Monday morning. Keep Pounding Podcast Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network, brand new podcast network made by survivors of the SB Nation podcast cuts, basically. Started from the guys that have one of the biggest Steeler podcasts in the country. Came in, built all this together, brought me on to build a Panthers channel, and we're happy to have Monti and Cody on Embrace Debate. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. You guys have a great week. Check out Cat's Cave tomorrow with Michael Davis and Ryan Frick here on the Keep Pounding Network. That'll drop sometime tomorrow morning. Just check here on the YouTube channel and all major podcast platforms. Keep pounding.